Breaking. Trump just received highest honor. He just beat out President Ronald Reagan. According to the highly prestigious conservative think tank the Heritage Foundation, President Donald Trump has done a remarkable job during the first year of his presidency. His accomplishments are surprisingly a lot better than the American conservative icon that was President Ronald Reagan. The Heritage Foundation is rightly so calling President Donald Trump the most conservative president they have ever rated. And after the 8 disastrous and downright anti-American liberal years of Barack Hussein Obama, this is very positive news for both the fiscal and social future of our nation. After each liberal presidential administration, the Heritage Foundation begins developing a list of policies that a new Republican administration could adopt if he were to win. In 2016 this list included a variety of initiatives, some of which included reimposing work requirements for welfare recipients, ending the DACA program which shields young illegal aliens brought here illegally as children, withdrawing from the disastrous and one-sided Paris Climate Accord, eliminating certain unfair gender identity protections, appointing conservative judges and gutting the heart of Obamacare by removing the individual and employer mandate. President Trump is a master at success according to his first year as president. In a statement, this week the Heritage Foundation confirmed that President Trump has checked off 64% of those items which were on the 2016 list, most of which were enacted either executive order or other means of enforcement. They even went as far as to include President Trump's budget, which was great but never voted on by Congress. Via the Heritage Foundation, Trump administration embraces Heritage Foundation policy recommendations January 23, 2018. 1 year after taking office, President Donald Trump and his administration have adopted nearly two-thirds of the policy recommendations from the Heritage Foundation's Mandate for Leadership. The Mandate for Leadership series includes 5 individual publications, totaling approximately 334 unique policy recommendations. Analysis completed by Heritage determined that 64% of the policy prescriptions were included in Trump's budget, implemented through regulatory guidance, or under consideration for action in accordance with the Heritage Foundation's original proposals. President Trump had an extraordinarily successful first year, says Thomas Binion, Director of Congressional and Executive Branch Relations at the Heritage Foundation. He put a conservative on the Supreme Court and he enacted historic pro-growth tax reform. This analysis demonstrates the lesser-known policy success that his administration has been fighting hard to enact. Heritage Foundation research analysts began developing the policy recommendations in 2016 during the presidential campaign with the following principles in mind: free enterprise, limited government, individual freedom, traditional American values, and a strong national defense. With approximately 70 former Heritage employees working for the Trump transition team or as part of the administration, the policy recommendations have served as guidelines for reducing the size and scope of the federal government through specific and detailed actions. The first Mandate for Leadership was released in January 1981, containing policy proposals of reform that would make government more efficient and effective. President Ronald Reagan distributed Heritage's book at his first cabinet meeting. As President Reagan did in the 1980s, Binion said, President Trump has embraced the comprehensive recommendations made in the Mandate for Leadership. These achievements have led to economic growth, a stronger national defense, and the restoration of the rule of law. Over the past several months, Heritage's executive branch relations staff reviewed the 334 policy recommendations and met with senior administration officials in the several agencies. Heritage analysts briefed administration officials on the recommendations, provided additional insight and information, and advocated for reform. By contrast, during Reagan's first year in office, Reagan can only claim 49% of Heritage's wish list were checked off. This is excellent news and a big slap in the face to the so-called conservative leaders who to this day call themselves #NeverTrumpers but who claim to pray at the altar of former President Ronald Reagan. This proves all of them were nothing more than just peons for the establishment and the swamp all along. They never cared about conservatism, all they cared about was keeping the gravy train going and maintaining the status quo alive. Maybe they just went with the flow of things to save their job and didn't care about politics. Please share if you are proud to support President Trump. What will be President Trump's next most significant accomplishment for the American people? Discuss this with your friends and talk about it in the comment section.